as the crew gets ready to fly by the moon. They are Dr. Lori Glaze.
A little before 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, we're going to pass the Apollo 13 distance record by humans, and that record is 248,655 statute miles. That's when we break the record. And then tomorrow evening, around 7:07 p.m. Eastern, we will reach the farthest distance from Earth at a distance of 252,760 miles. That's 4,105 miles farther than Apollo 13. You asked about the percent of illumination. My recollection, it's close to like 21%.
Yeah, the
right,
caveat
Elsa?
there, though, is that is the percent of the far side that is illuminated at
Correct.
closest approach. So when they are closest to the moon, they will see 21% of the far side. On their approach, as you saw in that visual, they will see the full disk. It will include a big section of the near side as well as that section of the far
essentially,
side.
Half of the moon is always illuminated.
They'll see that.
And so they will see the full 180 degrees that's illuminated, but as far as far side. Yeah. Thanks, Kelsey.
Yeah, I think it's at closest approach, it's 4,070 statute miles.
Mm-hmm.
We've allowed for that in the science evaluation room, and what you're referencing here is and so what you see here is what the crew will be looking at for the entirety of the flyby tomorrow. You see on the left side a list of sort of targets that listed vertically in the top left of the screen. Those are the targets in the timelined order we're asking them to image them in. And they're in a specific order because ultimately these targets trace back to our lunar science objectives. We have 10 lunar science objectives for this mission. All of them are covered in the targets in tomorrow's targeting plan, and they're in that order down the left side that you can see. The bottom left has the words that explain the significance of the target, as well as the prompts of what we're asking the crew to image and describe.
All right, I'll take a swing at the orbital mechanics here. So the translunar injection burn essentially raised our apogee, the height of our orbit above Earth, to a point where we target it such that the moon will, as it orbits Earth, we kind of intercept the moon and we allow the moon's gravity to take over. And then because we're not entering into lunar orbit, we coast past apogee relative to Earth and we start falling back to Earth. And eventually the Earth's gravity is going to take over and bring the spacecraft back into the atmosphere.
As for targets,
I was just going to add one more thing to that, is that as you enter, as we talked about, the stronger influence of the moon's gravity, we're out at some distance, and so when it starts to pull on us, we go into a circular, kind of an arc around the moon, and that kind of slingshots us. You can imagine a slingshot around, but then that kind of starts to overshoot and come back, and then by the time you might, go somewhere else, we're now pulled into Earth's gravity again, right? So it starts to pull us back. So it's the interplay of those two gravity fields that really drive this beautiful dance of the spacecraft.
We're concerned, but I don't know if you have any updates on whether that smell is persisting and what might be causing it. Thanks.
Sure. There are no liens against use of the toilet. The crew members are able to use the toilet, but we are still trying to figure out the wastewater vent line problem. It's kind of a complex engineering issue when you expose a liquid to vacuum. It's a pretty chaotic environment, and there's a lot of theory and textbook work done when you assume it's pure water being exposed to a vacuum. But when you introduce the variable of it being wastewater, there's other complex phenomena that we don't quite yet understand that are factoring into that vent line. And so we're still working through that.
Up onto the screen a graphic showing all the events for tomorrow. Our special coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern and extends into the evening.